Dan and Corey here, welcoming you into Libservative.
The great fundamental issue now before our people. We, the people, cannot turn back.
Years ago, now 15 years ago, I was in Washington doing Meet the Press. It was a sunny Sunday. And lightning struck at home on a little lake that's outside of our home, not a lake, a big pond, and hit a wire and came up underneath our home into the heating ducts, the air conditioning duct. To make a long story short, I almost lost my wife, my 67 Corvette, and my cat. But all kidding aside, I watched the firefighters, the way they responded. You know, there's an old expression. I grew up right across the street from a fire hall in Claymont, Delaware. And the expression is, God made man, then he made my 67 Corvette, then he made a few firefighters. You're all crazy, thank God. The only people who run into flames to help other people. And they ran into flames to save my wife and save my 67 Corvette. Not a joke. The smoke and the firefighters here can tell you sometimes smoke is so thick from the windows out, it was that thick inside the home. And we were insured. We did not have any problem, but being out of our home for the better part of a year was difficult. I can only imagine what it's like to lose your 67 Corvette.
Oh my God. He is so relatable. It just
entire life.
You were muted there, Corey.
It's one of the most relatable presidents I've ever heard in my life.
He's so relatable. He's an American treasure. He's a hero.
And it has a 67 Corvette.
Imagine the man Joe Biden would be today had he lost that 67 Corvette that fateful day.
My 67 Corvette.
Imagine where this country would be today had Joe Biden tragically lost his 67 Corvette on that horrible minor kitchen fire that is exactly the same as the Maui fires. Apparently,
he can relate. Relatable. He's just a relatable person, you know. He almost lost things to a fire, and almost losing things to a fire is very relatable to losing your entire livelihood and your family on an island in a very isolated area.
Yeah. So
it's Main Street Joe, Dan.
We don't mean to laugh at the plight, obviously, of the folks who lost a lot in Maui, but I think you have to make humor out of the fact that Joe Biden is a fucking dunce cap. I got a feeling that those in
his brain is so gone. He's not even the dunce wearing the cap. He's the actual dunce cap.
My 67 Corvette.
I mean, I saw this, right? And like, you think CNN reported on this speech? Here's the thing. Does the mainstream media even bother to follow Joe Biden around anymore?
I think they do. I just don't think they comment on it. Wow, Joe Biden is so relatable.
Such a relatable guy, man. That he almost lost his 67 Corvette, and it is almost the same thing as what happened in Maui. I see what he was trying to do there.
The guy's so out of touch.
Main Street Joe, just
now I see why they didn't want him to go there. Now I see why it was pushed so hard to.
Now you see why.
Yeah, it was not immediately clear to me until that speech.
Oh man, no. If I was in Maui right now, I would be like, there is absolutely no way this motherfucker is getting my vote. Like, there's no reason for me to vote for this guy at this point.
Dan, it's not even necessarily a vote for him. It's a vote. It's a vote for
My
his
67 Corvette.
Yes, we're gonna vote for the Corvette. I probably would vote for his Corvette over him. Like, if his Corvette were on the ticket against Joe Biden, I think I'd probably vote for the Corvette. I think the Corvette could probably do a better job relating to the people.
It would do less harm.
We had to start with that. I'm sorry. Like, we just had to start with the complete out of touch senility of Joe Biden. Because that to me, that speech that he gave in Maui was like his Barack Obama, can I get a glass of water moment? Like, was that what that was to you? Because that's what that was to me.
It's sad that this is just a blip. Because he said and done so many weird things. The guy just shuffles around. I feel like Secret Service isn't even trying to protect him from stray bullets or bullets aimed at him. They're just being spotters, like you see at fucking Planet Rock when like a 6-year-old is climbing the wall and they're just going, whoa, whoa, just trying to make sure he doesn't hit his head.
They're like the lifeguards at the city pool. Just
yeah,
make sure Joe doesn't fall into the deep end.
making sure he doesn't fall into the deep end, and also probably standing on a lot of chairs because they don't want to get bit by his dogs.
or run over while he's driving his 67 Corvette that didn't burn up in the fire.
Thank God. They got all those top secret documents. We're also safe.
My 67 Corvette.
Anyway, Joe Biden's maybe the least relatable president ever. Because at least the guys before him, I would even consider him less relatable than Donald Trump, because Donald Trump is at least funny, and being funny is at least relatable, even though he's a billionaire who's bilked the system forever. At least he's funny. People can relate to funny, right?
Yeah, but I just can't relate to either of those blowhards.
But it's sad. I mean, Barack Obama at the beginning was sort of the everyman. He was. Remember how like Barack Obama.
I don't know, Dad. I just can't relate to not paying 100 Polish immigrants who helped build one of my skyscrapers.
You can't relate to that?
No.
But he's funny. You can relate to funny.
He's a wannabe fucking Rat Pack guy from the 50s. Like, he always thinks he's on stage with like what's his face? Oh my God, I can't believe I can't think of Frank Sinatra. Yeah.
Sammy Davis Jr.
Jesus. Yeah, Sammy Davis Jr. Dean
No,
Martin.
Sammy Davis would have been kicked out of the Rat Pack. His skin's too dark for Joe.
I was talking about Trump.
Oh, either way.
Yeah, Trump tries to be like this weird Rat Pack thing where he's like, "Hey, take my wife, please."
That's Rodney Dangerfield.
I know, he's like, that's what I'm saying. He's a cheap impersonation of like a Rodney Dangerfield, that weird 50s humor where they
I take my wife everywhere, but she finds a way home.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, that's just how we needed to start the show. Do you want?
It was welcome to Libservative.
Yeah,
another rousing rendition. That's Dan Griffin.
That's Corey Walsh.
Bella, the Bodysnatcher on the ones and twos.
You're really bad at that. I really need to not forget to do that ever again.
I know. I told you, I'm fucking terrible.
My 67 Corvette.
Almost as bad as that. Yes, of course. Intellectual idiots fostering political and cultural literacy. Welcome into another rousing rendition of Libservative. All the things that Corey Walsh just said. We've already made fun of Joe Biden tonight. We got our fix in on that one. Do we want to begin with the Republican debates, or do we want to save that? I think we should start. I think we should start with the Republican debates.
Sure.
I just pulled my own. I just pulled the thing I always pull, which is where I ask you a question and then just answer it.
I'm used to it.
Why do we do this to ourselves? Why do we continue to watch these debates? And the answer is that they're not. The media is not even trying to hide that these are just sporting events for nerds at this point. because when I tuned into the Republican debates last night, I could not help but notice the way that they started the show, which was like that, like you said, Corey, in the pre-show with the they're zooming in with the
drone by Michael J. Fox.
And they're showing the big jumbotron and the whatever the Bucks arena is out there in Milwaukee, and you hear Brett Baer come on like he's fucking Al Michaels, and welcome in to the 2024 Republican debates as we begin the journey to see who will take the White House next November. It's like it's fucking Monday Night Football. Everybody's got their popcorn ready, and that is exactly how this stupid thing played out. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, so you were busy that night, Dan, but I had Belle and Bert over, and we ordered pizza, we were doing shots, we were drinking beers, and we were watching it like it was a sporting event. Like when these fucking goofballs were up there digging into one of each other's or having a zinger, we were sitting there going, like getting all like we made a little drinking game that every time DeSantis said Florida, we had to do a shot.
You must have been hammered about 15 minutes in.
We were a little inebriated. That was a little inebriated. I was a little inebriated. My notes were being taken less and less as the night went on because I couldn't really deal with it. Brighton Eyes is in the house.
But he enjoyed the Republican debates.
Yeah, I wonder if he watched it. Because we sure as shit did. And it was a whole lot of just platitudes and pandering.
Oh, dude, here's how you knew it was going to be platitudes and pandering. And this was Fox News' fault. They opened up by trying to like make Oliver Anthony like the start of the debate. You see how they just used Richmond?
Yeah,
Richmond as
they're like, hey, everyone, before you say anything, listen to this song. Yeah. And they didn't even play the whole song.
Well, what I couldn't help but think was like, oh my God, the people on the stage, besides maybe Vivek Ramaswamy, everybody else are the rich men north of Richmond that he's fucking singing about in the song.
Oh, Vivek would still be considered a rich man north of Richmond. That guy's a billionaire. You know what I mean? Like, I know he's not a political pundit and he's an outsider, but all of them, every single one on that stage was what he's singing about.
It's like remember when Paul Ryan said that his favorite band was Rage Against the Machine when he's the machine that they're raging against?
Yeah. Yep.
It gave me that vibe. It gave me that vibe. All the way through.
Update on the Oliver Anthony stuff, though, because we went in pretty depth into him last week, and when we were on the show last week talking about him, I was talking about whether or not his songs would actually have legs or if it was just because like it was astroturfed to get it up to stardom, but it has legs and it's continuing to go versus like the Jason Aldean song that like peaked and then dropped within like a week off the top, like being the top song or whatever. When we talked last week, I mentioned how Richmond north of Richmond had it went from like less than 1 million downloads to like 5 million in like 3 days. Mm-hmm. Since last week to this week on Spotify, it's up to 20 million downloads. And the guy claims, now I don't know him from fucking Ramaswamy or any of those people, but he claims that he's been turning down like $8 million contracts and things like that. He doesn't want to be rich. He just likes to make his music, and he's just a simple boy from Farmville, Virginia.
That's what makes it fun, because he's a man that actually has principles, unlike anybody on that fucking Republican stage list. Yeah, of course, for now. But it's like, okay, Corey, we feel like we're men of principle. If some like podcast promoter came to us and offered us $8 million tomorrow, what would we say?
Can I get that in 20s? No.
100%. So he's more principled than we are.
Yeah, I know. We like to try to pretend that. Yeah. And then another interesting thing that I found about that song is like, so the song's completely fucked my algorithms up on TikTok and stuff like that, right? Because, I was looking into seeing what people were saying about it, because we were digging a little bit about that for the purpose of our show. And so now on my feed, I'm seeing a lot of people like blue collar people and workers sharing lyrics from the song of like it'd be like B-roll footage, you know, of like a semi truck getting ready to take off a load, you know, and go somewhere. And all the people that are sharing this song that are like that you would like that are blue. I don't want to say they're on the right, but you know, working class people, like people out in the rural areas in the country and stuff like that. And every single one of them is like sharing lyrics to the song for the video, but it's always the part where it's like working overtime hours for bullshit pay. You know, it's about the plight of the American worker. None of them are taking jabs at and using the obese lines. And it's just interesting to me how the right is just either willfully ignoring or not resonating with the obese lines whatsoever, and they're just not even talking about that part. But people on the left are continually beating this song over like one stanza of the whole song.
Well,
and I just found that interesting.
That's something that the synthetic left gets wrong all the time. It's they have this weird idea that like folks that are on the cultural right don't give a shit about poor people. And it's like, you talk about the politicians all day. Like, of course, Republican politicians
of course they
don't give a shit about poor people. But like, I haven't had a conversation with too many just like normal everyday Joe conservatives that like don't give a shit about the fact that people are poor. That's not really what they're not sitting there and blaming their own plight on poor people, which is what you would be led to believe if you're terminally online, if you're terminally on Twitter, if you're listening to people that are talking about this one line from Oliver Anthony's song about welfare. They're like, this is what all conservatives think. And it's like, yeah, maybe the politicians, maybe the conservative elites, but it's like the Democratic elites don't give a shit about poor people either. Shall we dive into policy on this? We won't do that tonight, but it's like, it's not that hard to find. So it just goes into that whole stop being pissed off at your neighbor because he's conservative. You feel free to be pissed off at the conservative politician, but also feel free to be pissed off at the you know, the synthetic liberal politician as well, because they work for the same people.
100%. Anyway. Yeah, no, I thought it was hilarious how like I went off on a little tangent about the song, but I thought it was hilarious that like the first thing they come out with is like, "What do you guys think of this song, huh?"
Ooh, and they're all great.
Like, none of them even really said anything. They just kind of sat there and like did this fake like bob to it. Like they're like, "Oh, I'm digging this song." Yeah,
the boomer toe tap.
Yeah, the boomer toe tap. Like, oh man, I can really resonate with this song. As they're all millionaires and billionaires.
None of them.
The song is literally talking shit about all of them.
None of them can resonate with that song. Anyway, then we got into the meat of the Republican debate.
So what should we do? How do you want to do this? Should we do winners and losers? Should we just go down the list of the candidates and who we thought was doing what
I have very loose notes from the Republican debate because I was really struggling to take any of it seriously. I was watching it for entertainment purposes like you were as well. But I was also in the mindset of it's really sad that one of these people might be the leader of the free world.
In the very least, the VP.
Who was, I think Vivek Ramaswamy was the big winner, if you will.
Yeah, because he had nothing to lose and everything to gain, and he took complete advantage of what he was trying to accomplish when he was out on that stage.
And he also did, I'm not going to call this brilliant because I just think that all of the other people on that stage were too stupid to realize that this is the right strategy. He basically just used Trump's playbook the entire fucking debate. Oh, yeah. He was the only one that did it. And I'm like, this is, but to me, that is how you know that so many of these career politicians are unbelievably out of touch, because we saw 2016, we saw 2020, we've seen Donald Trump debate how many times now? Like 6, something like that, maybe more. And we know how well he does in these debates just by being bombastic, being loud, being insulting. And that's exactly what Vivek Ramaswamy did. He wasn't quite as insulting. But he's also better.
Yeah, he did.
He's more
he
well
did go after
spoken than
people's.
Trump. But he's more well spoken than Trump. So he definitely used that kind of that tactic. But he was more, I don't know, I guess likable while doing it. But all of these other career politicians are sitting there playing defense against that tactic, which is exactly what they did against Trump in 2016, and he wiped the fucking floor with all of them.
Oh, he put them all on the back foot right away. Chris Christie tried to jab at it to try to sway the momentum, but
Chat GPT guy who sounds like Chat GPT.
Yeah, the last time we had someone on this stage when they said, "Who's the tall, skinny brow guy or the tall, skinny dark guy or whatever?" he said
with the funny name, yeah,
with the funny name, yeah. He goes, "You're the next Obama."
And then Vivek said, "Come give me a hug like you did Obama after the hurricane."
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, he was out there punching above his weight.
Well, you're punching Chris Christie. It's hard not to punch above your weight.
Bazinga! But yeah, no, it was interesting to see.
Yeah, Chris Christie's as
My
big as
67 Corvette.
As big as you say, he's as big as his 67 Corvette.
A big boy.
Yeah, so I think ultimately Ramaswamy was the winner. DeSantis didn't really do much. He said the same stuff that he always does. For some reason, no one on the stage really attacked him, which I found interesting.
I don't think he knew. I don't think he knew where the hell he was. I don't know if he was like he was on drugs or something, but
Bergam.
He was having like a completely different debate from everybody else on that stage. DeSantis was. It's almost like he's like somebody came up to him or handed him a fucking Post-it note before the debate started and said, "Here, write all these things on your hand and make sure you say them before the debate's over." And then DeSantis was just up there with like a deer in headlights, sweating. He's so unlikable, dude. I think he's officially toast. I think he's toast after that.
So I'm really excited about what happens with I've been waiting. I've been refreshing like 538 and stuff like that to see where we're at with the polls but like nothing's come out yet of like what the new like poll rankings are, what everyone's numbers are. Because
I would imagine Ramaswamy is going to officially overtake him. He's already ahead of him in some polls. DeSantis, he's ahead of DeSantis in some polls. I think he's officially going to be second place after this is all said and done.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's going to jump ahead of DeSantis on this, which in all reality, I think what he's doing is just vying for the VP position to get himself into politics. Ramaswamy, the way he still cucks out to Trump. Kyle Kulinski called him a beta male.
Well, that's interesting coming from Kyle Kulinski. I didn't say that. I should probably edit that out. No, I'll leave it. Yeah,
I'm not gonna like. I don't.
He was the most alpha male guy on that fucking stage last night. Are you kidding me? If anybody's a beta male, it was
he was alpha male to everyone on that stage. But if Trump was on that stage, it might have added a whole different dynamic to the conversation. Because he was still up there going, "Yeah, Trump was the greatest president in the 21st century."
You know what's funny?
What?
I remember that particular line as well, and I thought about it, and I went, "Okay, that's debatable." But let's just say for a minute that it's true. Really low bar. I mean, we're talking about a really low bar. We're talking about Bush, Obama, Trump, and Biden are the only 4 presidents so far in the 21st century. That is a really low bar.
Yeah, it's easy to make that assertion when those are the other alternatives.
That's your competition. Congratulations. It's like me beating the shit out of a 9-year-old girl, or I should say 3 9-year-old girls. Which, of course, I would never do. But
you could.
But I could if I wanted to. Actually, I guess it would depend on the circumstances. There's probably some 9-year-old girls.
August 24th, 2023. Dan definitely could beat the shit out of 3 9-year-old girls.
Must be
maybe not at maybe not at the ssame time. Bell goes must be nice because he's a tiny boy.
For those who don't know, Bell's really small.
He's just a little guy.
But he's not a beta male.
I might be able to beat up 3 9-year-old girls. I don't know.
But Bell at the same time.
No.
With all 3 of them on each other's shoulders.
3 9-year girls stacked up.
Did you see the pro-Ukraine commercial on Fox News last night during the
but I did make notes of all the Trump commercials.
There was a pro-Ukraine commercial.
I missed it.
Tell me Fox News is just quasi-conservative mainstream media without telling me that Fox News is quasi-conservative mainstream media.
Yeah.
Defend Ukraine.
I didn't see the Defend Ukraine commercial. I must have been half lit, I'll be honest. Like about the second half of that show. The second half of that game. I was pretty inebriated.
We're watching it on what was it? What was it? YouTube TV that you have for live?
No, we were. Also, we were. I didn't realize it, but we watched it on Fox Business, not Fox News.
Yeah, so it's gonna have different stuff.
We still syndicated all of the other stuff, but the commercials might have been different. But
yeah, there was a "We Got to Defend Ukraine" commercial on Fox News.
What a fun debate that was.
So
yeah,
we know. I think we're both in agreement. Bell, let's get Bell in on this. Who do you think?
Real quick,
I just want to find out who he thinks. Like, if you're going to pick a winner of this debate, which I don't know if there really was one, but I say Vivek. Corey says Vivek. I think, right?
Yeah, I do.
Who is the big winner for you?
It's Vivek.
Unanimous.
Yeah, he had nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Nikki
when you
Haley, she just doesn't have the juice. She says all the right things, but she doesn't have the. She can't punch through everybody like Vivek does.
Well, and
his voice just cuts through everybody else's, and he just said everything right.
I'm glad you brought up Nikki Haley, Bell, because her foreign policy is like literally just
neocon.
Just reach your hand into like a neoconservative vat of talking points and just pull out whatever you can grab. That's Nikki Haley's foreign policy.
Yeah. So real quick, let's circle back real quick. Everyone on that stage was former Vice President Michael Pence, Vivek Ramaswamy, who wrote the book Woke Inc. He has some businesses. Chris Christie, the old governor of New Jersey. Ron DeSantis, the current governor of Florida. Nikki Haley, she was a UN ambassador, and she was also the governor of South Carolina.
She got the Confederate flag pulled off of the South Carolina state flag, so good for her.
Tim Scott, who he's just a senator, I believe, right?
Yeah, South Carolina.
No, he's the governor of South Dakota. No, Tim Scott's the governor of South Carolina right now.
No, are you sure? I thought it was Burgum.
Tim Scott's the governor of South Carolina, 100%.
Oh, Burgum
was South Dakota.
Yeah, Burgum's North Dakota, and then Asa Hutchinson was ex-DEA.
Yeah, and it's so funny that the ex-DEA guy looked like he was just gong-showed. His eyes were red and all baggy, and he looked like he was taste testing all the drugs that he was taking from people and putting in prison.
That guy won't be in the next debate. He's terrible.
I don't think Burgum will either.
No, Burgum.
Even though Burgum is of everything they all said, the only one that made me become a wet rubbery one was him when he was talking about how the framers of the Constitution originally designed this country to have states' rights and not federal rights when they're talking about in regards to abortion. And how he said
Tim Scott's a senator in South Carolina right now.
I thought it said
not governor, but a senator. And so Burgum said, he goes, when he was talking about, he goes, things in North Dakota don't work like they do in New Jersey. And these states need to be able to have the power to do these things for themselves. And he pulled out his pocket constitution. Other than that, the guy looked like, because he just ripped his Achilles tendon. So he looked like he was, yeah, he was probably all hopped up on drugs. That's probably why he didn't talk much. He was just sitting there just staring blankly.
What's funny is Burgum on painkillers probably could have given a better speech in Maui than could our current president, Joe Biden, easily.
Yeah. He didn't have crutches either. That guy the whole time looked like he had this look on his face like, kill me.
Now,
I think
the person who... Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Bill. No, you're good. Go ahead.
I was going to say the person who had the most talking time, Mike Pence.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Mike Pence had a total of 12 minutes and 37 seconds. Vivek Ramaswamy had 11 minutes and 47 seconds. Chris Christie had 11 minutes and 22 seconds. Ron DeSantis had 10 minutes and 22 seconds. Haley had 8 minutes and 41 seconds. Tim Scott had 8 minutes and 15 seconds. Burgum had 8 minutes, and Hutchinson had 7 minutes and 33 seconds.
So you want to talk about losers of this debate? I think my answer is going to surprise you guys who the biggest loser is, because I think it's really easy to say it was Mike Pence. But I'm not going with Mike Pence.
Mike Pence was another one who had a really solid answer when he talked about how he put the Constitution over serving a president. And that has a lot of like weight to it because there's
experience there.
Literally, yeah, like January 6th, when the whole world, or at least, like 50 million Americans or whatever who are Trump sycophants were like telling him to do what Trump says. He stood his ground and put the Constitution over Trump, to where if he tried to, even if it didn't go the way Trump wanted, if he tried to say he's going to send it back to the legislators, which was based on that bullshit theory of like the state legislator theory, which was just shot down by the Supreme Court, I believe.
It was.
If he even tried to do that, even if it fell apart in the Supreme Court, it would have created a constitutional crisis that would have been just absolute, just bullshit and noise and just a waste of time. And he said no.
Yep.
I'm going.
That day was the day I respected Mike Pence the most, is when he stood up for the Constitution over someone who was trying to give themselves a crown to be a monarchy.
And then he got up onto a presidential debate stage and opened his mouth about Jesus, which I don't have a problem with Jesus. I dig Jesus. Jesus is a cool dude. Not a good platform to run on in 2023. That's his platform. His platform is Jesus. But
Jesus and his wife.
Even with all of that, I don't think Mike Pence was the big loser. I'm going to tell you who the big loser was. It wasn't Asa Hutchinson, and it wasn't Burgum.
It was DeSantis.
No, the big loser was Chris Christie.
Oh,
I'm going to tell you exactly why Chris Christie was the big loser. Because Chris Christie is demonstrated what we all knew about him, with the whole reason he got into this race in the first place, which was to do the thing that we're all fucking tired of. And that is shit on Donald Trump.
Vivek called him out on that.
That's all Chris Christie is in this race for. And he was the absolute most establishment, neocon, neo-lib, just gross. He's gross for many reasons, but gross career politician up on that stage. Nobody made me want to vomit during this debate more than Chris Christie did.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, because everybody else on that stage had at least one or two things that they said that I was like, that's a decent point, or at least something that I didn't expect to come out of their mouths. Even Mike Pence. Never thought I'd say that about Mike Pence. But Chris Christie was just this establishment robot up there. And so for that reason, Chris Christie to me was the big loser of...
Dude, and not only of his attacks falling short, right? When he was up there, he literally bragged about cutting pension funds. He bragged about, or he was, one of his policies wanting to expand the federal government with his AG to come after state AGs. And that guy, what I wrote down is Christie just wants to be on the right side of history regarding the Constitution and oath to office, and just being the one who a little footnote that didn't like Trump, that when 70 years from now, when everyone goes, Trump wasn't that great in the history books, it's going to be a little footnote that be like, Chris Christie didn't like him. And like, that's it. Like that's his legacy. He didn't like Trump. He did defend Trump, Pence. Remember, he came out and was defending Pence for what he did against Trump, but it was still had something to do with Trump. And yeah, he didn't look good. He didn't sound good. He was this little pit bull. He tried to come after Vivek, and I think he tried to swallow a pill too big with not enough water.
I expected a lot more from Chris Christie, to be completely honest.
Yeah, we were kind of hyping him up. We're like, dude, the guy's a pit bull. He's gonna come out.
Yeah, like he looks like a bulldog in there. Like he's always a bulldog in there. Every single debate, just a bully. But he just couldn't get it done. He couldn't punch through, man. It was kind of shocking.
If anyone, I think that's gonna lose the most on this, but it's always the negligible ones, right? Like this debate was to filter out the ones who aren't gonna be shit anyways, right? Ada Hutchinson, Tim Scott, the ones that are polling at like 1%.
Burgum.
Well, so when it comes to all my notes, I have notes for Pence, I have notes for Christie, I have notes for Ramaswamy, I have notes for DeSantis. But then in my list, I shit you not, it just says Scott and Asa. Like, I don't have anything even written down for him.
That's a good point. And you know what? I think if I went back and watched it again, I might say Tim Scott was the big loser.
Yeah, he was another Ben Carson, basically. Just
the reason
quiet and monotone and just sitting there and not really saying much.
And he just sat up there and tossed a word salad the whole fucking debate. It's all he did. Like like somebody was like he had the little alien from Men in Black in his head, just like telling him what to say. I think that's why I didn't give him the big loss, because he was just so unmemorable. Like I don't even remember a single.
Yeah, so that's what I'm kind of getting at, you know. And even Ada, he made himself Asa. Sorry, Trump's the one that calls him Ada. That just goes to show I have no fucking idea who the guy is. But as soon as I heard he was DEA, it was immediately, you can ask Bell, I just went, fuck you. Like before you even got a word out. Like
we literally we were like some school kids in there taking shots.
About I think more than one person on that stage was a federal prosecutor at one point. I'm like, all right, you're out.
Yeah, who was that? Chris Christie and
Chris Christie was automatically out for me. Chris Christie was the head
the one that was talking about
what was it? Trump's opioid, the anti-opioid agency.
Was it
Chris Christie? Yeah, Chris Christie was the head of that. Until
Yeah, and he was doing the same type of talking that DeSantis does when it comes to expanding the power of the federal government. These guys are supposed to be conservatives and make a limited government, and he was talking about how he was going to expand it and like have his AG go after AGs in states who weren't doing what they're supposed to do to fight the crime and drug problems and stuff like that. And it's like, no. Burgum, again, who's the only one who had any sort of sense when it came to the Constitution, you leave that shit to the states. If a state becomes a shithole, people are going to move. Like, it's not that hard. And then that just makes it to that state to where they have to actually like do better for the people in their state and represent them better.
Yeah, Burgum is like, he reminds me a lot of like John Kasich from 2016. A guy
I'm just happy to be here. This is wild stuff, huh, guys?
But Kasich was a guy that I could get behind as a Republican, and I never would have said that prior to 2016. But I was like, Kasich sounds like a cool dude. But like, you just know he's got no shot because he just doesn't have the juice. He doesn't have the
the juice. Like I remember that debate so vividly when he was talking about how when in Ohio how they increased or they lowered unemployment and brought wealth to the state and stuff like that. And Trump just goes, "You got lucky with fracking. That's all you did." It was still like that's still like his governance in the state still had something to do with that because he could have just nixed it. But like Trump was just like just shutting people down.
Give me a hug like he did Obama.
Yeah. So do you think so? I feel like Trump's little interview on Tucker Carlson ain't gonna really have legs. I feel like the people who love Trump watched it, and that's it. Anyone who doesn't have any interest in Trump isn't going to spend that 45 minutes listening to him say the same things that he always says over and over. And now seeing Vivek do the shit that he did, do you think Trump feels the need to hop on that stage now? Because I wrote down, before I realized that Trump actually, because before Vivek said that Trump was the greatest president of the 21st century, and he was like going toe to toe with these people and giving them the shit that Trump gives people, I wrote down Trump is probably shitting his pants right now watching someone who can actually counterpunch and punch up like he does. But then ended up saying that shit, and now Trump came out and he's like, yeah, Vivek won it. Obviously he said the right things, which was just getting on his knees for Trump. But it's making me wonder if the Tucker Carlson thing does kind of just fade real quick. Like it's already barely even being talked about. Do you think he's gonna feel the inclination to hop on that stage?
Tucker's becoming irrelevant really fast.
Kind of is, isn't he?
Sorry to say. Yeah, he really is.
Because he threw himself into the noise with a million other talking heads.
Yeah. He
is now in the same pool as we are with more name recognition.
I think I'll let this first debate marinate a little more. But I think Trump made the right decision strategically by not getting on that stage last night. He had absolutely nothing to gain and everything to lose. He had no reason. So would I have liked to have seen him up there? Yeah, I would have liked to have seen him up there, but I completely understand why he wasn't. It makes complete sense. Now, where I get pissed is when you have these people that sit there and say, well, Joe Biden needs to debate RFK. Joe Biden, you're ducking RFK. You need to get up on that debate stage, and then out of the other side of their mouth talk about how Trump made the right decision by not debating. It's like, well, you can't have it both ways. Do you think these people need to debate, or do you not think they need to debate? Strategically, I think Biden and Trump make the right decision by not debating. From a politically strategic perspective, they're making the right decision by not debating. Am I a fan of it?
And you watch how fast, though, they're going to change the bylaws for their parties of you have to participate in a debate.
Democrats won't.
Republicans might.
Yes, because Trump is anti-establishment and the Republican Party is still an establishment party. So yes, that I could see that taking place. As far as a debate between Vivek and Trump, I don't know how that would go. I really wouldn't know how to predict how that would go.
Vivek's a little bit more sharper.
I was going to say though, but would Vivek?
But he's relying on those Trump votes. So yeah,
exactly. Would Vivek get on that stage and just let Trump have it, not have it pound him, give it to him, but actually let him have the debate because he wants to ride Trump's tiny jelly bean cock? Or would he actually take him on because he thinks he has a chance? Yeah. It's interesting. I'd like to get into Vivek's head and because he talks a big game, but does he really inside of his own head believe he has a chance to beat Donald Trump? I don't know. The way he talks about Donald Trump, you feel like it's
he's Trump's just vying for a VP.
Yeah, Trump's almost his kryptonite. It's interesting.
Yeah,
I'll pay a little and that's why I'll keep paying attention to it because I have very mixed feelings about Vivek Ramaswamy. There are things about him.
I'm not a big fan of a lot of his policies,
but there are things about him that I really like. He's got the right idea on Ukraine, 100%. I'm with him all day long on Ukraine. I don't really hate his education policy. We all know the Department of Education is jacked up. We all know teachers' unions are too powerful. We all know.
Well, it's not that they're too powerful. They don't. It's a union that doesn't represent the teachers. They constantly are getting their wages cut. They're constantly getting laid off. Their pensions are getting fucked with because that is a union that is not have its participants or its members.
But they're also protecting
more money. That union spends more money on giving it to like Democratic pundits and things like that. Like that union, it's not a Teamster, like Teamsters union, good, UAW, good, the IBREW, all the different little unions for the tradesmen are good. Police unions, teachers unions aren't good. There's a difference between good unions and bad unions.
They also
and I'm not just saying it's
teachers,
a bad union inherently, like, oh, because they donate to Democrats. No, they're a bad union because teachers constantly get fucked by their union. Constant pay cuts, constant pension fund cuts, constant benefit cuts. Those unions are the example of when people talk about how unions are shitty. Those are the unions you would use as an example. Teachers
when
unions,
they're
unions.
too bureaucratically run.
Yeah.
And then like the other big issue with teachers unions is that they spend too much time. They protect bad teachers at the end of the day.
Just like police unions protect bad cops.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, there are a lot of issues with that in the Department of Education. So like, I like a lot of Vivek Ramaswamy's foreign policy. His domestic policy, I have some more questions about. Like,
there's some thought to put to the idea that with the whole Ukraine thing of how we're pushing Russia into China when China is the greatest threat, and then them two together unilaterally, unequivocally, is not good for the world as a whole. Like never mind just America first. We're talking about two authoritarian governments who create like social structures that are based on social credits and making everyone, you have to sit in this little cookie cutter mold or you can't go to a store and get ice cream, and shit like that. Like, that's not the way the world should. Like, I know America's an experiment. I know we're the first country that gives power to the people, like with the idea of how our country was founded. And I'm hoping that this isn't just a footnote in the history of humankind. And I hope that we're the ones that succeed. But pushing all the ones who are doing the old world thinking of making one person in charge together isn't going to make that idea live more like longer. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
I think so. We'll let the listeners decide.
Yeah.
Anyway,
comment on my mumbo jumbo word salad there and let me know what you think.
Before we move on, biggest lie of the night. Do you have one? Because I have one.
DeSantis had a good one about the Navy SEALs when he was just like a lawyer. And then Haley saying that Ukraine or that Russia wants to plow, that Haley and Pence both saying that Russia wants to plow through into NATO countries.
No, Nikki Haley. I'm going to give it to Nikki Haley because Nikki Haley was the one that said Putin has said, this isn't like a speculatory thing. She pull up the tape. Nikki Haley said that Putin said that he will plow through Poland and the Baltics next. Putin has never said that.
He's never said that, and Poland is literally sitting there chomping at the bits, hoping that they do.
Yeah, that is an outright neoconservative foreign policy bullshit lie. She lied. That was the fucking pants on fire. Nikki Haley won the Pants on Fire award for last night's debate for that one. That was the biggest lie that I caught of the entire evening.
Dude, when it comes to like policy and how government works, though, she was really on point when Pence was like, we need to make a more stringent national ban on abortion. That 70% of the country thinks this way. And she's like, yeah, 70% of the country, sure, but you're not going to get 70% of Congress to vote for that.
Well, not to mention, they when they were talking, this is what we go over this a lot, Corey. Like when people talk about the way Americans feel about abortion, it is one of those things where you can really cherry pick polling numbers. But at the end of the day, the one that you can't cherry pick is who thinks that abortion should be legal to some degree at all, period. And that's 83% of Americans think that there should not be an outright ban on abortion. A lot of Americans feel differently on like when we should have it cut off.
Yeah,
like,
and that's why I go back to Bergen. I go back to Bergen. He nailed it the best. Like, ask Bell. I was literally sitting there as Bergen was giving his spiel about how it should be put to states because that's how the country was designed and stuff like that, I was looking at Bell yelling, half cocked and drunk. And I'm like, dude, the easiest answer they could fucking have. I'm like, when this country started, our Constitution was based on British common law. And the common law said that abortion isn't about to 12 or abortion can be legal until about 12 to 15 weeks when the quickening happens. And that's when you could feel the baby kick. I'm like, and because abortion was never explicitly denied by our Constitution, it falls under the 9th Amendment that says any law that isn't explicitly said that you have in this country doesn't mean that it's implicitly denied just because it's not stated as such. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going down to this and we look up and Bergen's holding this Constitution. He's saying the same damn shit that I was saying. And I'm like, the only man that's actually up there speaking truth.
Yeah, it's just too bad he doesn't.
He was all fucked up on drugs and he can't even walk.
He's all fucked up on birth control.
What?
Anyway, shall we move on? Do you have any closing comments about the Republican debates?
Pence basically admit Ukrainians are pawns in a proxy war. Him and Haley's thing I was just talking about abortion. DeSantis actually I forget what he said, but he made a remark about Hunter Biden.
Bell, get in here. I got to piss.
And then, all right. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Me and Bell, we saw Cornel West on Fox News talking to Laura Ingraham right before it, which was interesting. The Green Party guy, and he was talking shit about Democrats and Republicans. The guy, man, he is such a charmer. The way he speaks, the charisma he has, no one on that stage we saw during the actual thing, even Vivek touches it.
It's hard to dislike Cornel West.
Yeah, he's like, oh, my brothers and my sisters. And he's like, listen, my sister.
Talking to Laura. Like, oh, my sister Laura, listen.
With his crazy hair and stuff.
I know.
Oh, it was great. It was great. Cornel West.
I dislike him.
Oh, no, he's a great guy.
It's impossible. I'm not going to vote for him, but
he also still is another senior citizen up there running for a job.
Yeah, that
and so
have.
Yeah, so honestly, I really do. I believe that Vivek won the whole debate. I disagree with a lot of his policy. I like the other thing, and I'm gonna try to just stall out until Dan gets back from taking a piss because his bladder is the size of a pea, and he just always has got to piss.
I got a bigger bladder than him. That's weird.
Yeah, that is weird for as small as you are.
It's weird.
I got the bladder of a camel. It's like I got one of those camel backpacks on my back. It just, I don't know where it goes. I just takes a long time for me to piss.
I was never gonna make it to the end of the show.
Oh, we were just talking shit about. I was talking shit about both of you guys having bladders the size of like a pea.
Yeah,
the size of Trump's
Corvette.
The size of Trump's hand. One other thing I did want to touch on that I was just getting to right before you walked back, and I was actually just stalling until you got here, was how every single one of them has just the shittiest, most terrible take on our immigration policy. Yeah, that's literally them all running around trying to say how we could fix our immigration problem.
Yeah, they were all wrong because, immigration is good.
Yeah, it's not easy to even explain that or express, based on empirical facts of why that's a good thing. America is the only reason America, who is now an established, like virtually mature nation, like in England or China or even a Japan or, like a lot of like Western nations. And the reason why we don't have a population crisis or like a aging crisis in our country is because it's supplemented by immigrants. And you would think that Republicans would finally get this fact, because I was thinking about this in the shower, shower thoughts.
Yeah.
Who loves this country the fucking most of anyone?
The people that escape oppression to come here.
Yeah. I'd say it's not the fucking white people. They bitch about this country all the time. The ones who are just like, yeah, no, I love it here. It's great.
It's not the guys that are bowing to Robert E. Lee statues in the South.
It's the immigrants and the first generation children who came here and got the American dream and American way to achieve something that they would have never had that opportunity if their parents didn't make that trek, that pilgrimage to come to America.
So I guess what I would ask with regards to immigration, because I don't think we've really ever come at it from this angle before, which is, I can't remember who it was. I can't remember if it was Pence or Christie. It was one of them that made the point about the unfairness for people that actually are trying to come in and do this thing legally being put on the back burner for folks that are coming over illegally. What did you think about that statement? Because what I'm talking about, right?
Because it's in an ineffective system that it takes people who actually want to come here years to do it, and it's such a faulty, shitty system that we have that the people who are desperate to come here know that system sucks, so they take their chances. To where if that system was efficient, it could work for the people who are trying to do that and the ones who are skeptical about doing it because they know it's a piece of shit. Like our country literally was doing 1 million people a year on Ellis Island, and we didn't have AI. We didn't have computers. We didn't have internet. People would show up on fucking steamboats coming from Europe, and they would look at their eyes and be like, oh yeah, you don't have any fucking diseases. You don't got jaundice here. And they would do things like, what's your name? And they would say some wild ass name that they like, some crazy Polish name that they can't, that the person there
couldn't
just
change it right there on the spot.
Just change it to John Smith.
That's what they did to my family.
Yeah.
My
mom
was too
was
hard
telling
to
me.
spell. They're like, no, you spell your name like this now. Like, yeah, all right.
Yeah. And they would just go, okay, I'm just glad to fucking be here.
Yeah.
And they would come here and get treated for shit and get apples and rotten tomatoes thrown at them as they crossed they got on the docks by mostly Democrats, and Republicans would be like, welcome to America, exactly right. But Republican.
Yeah.
And it's like, we fucking did this before. We used to be the immigration capital of the world. We can still do this. Me and Bell were talking about it. Just on the border, build a wall. Sure. Build a wall and make a bunch of nice little manicured paths that go to a building, just a big fucking ass office building right in the middle. And in that building, you fill it with immigration lawyers and immigration judges, and you get people in and out. Sure, there are going to be some people on waiting lists that you're going to have to put them on standby while they try to figure out exactly who they are, because there are going to be some shady characters coming in. And then, but there's going to be like so many of these people are coming in. They're like, listen, this is who I am. I'm running away from this.
Well,
all right, congratulations. Welcome to America.
How many
Here's
of those
social security number?
How many of those would there be though, Corey? Because you think if like you're saying, there's, this, shining mountain, the fucking shining city on a hill thing with Ronald Reagan always talked about. Like you got this shiny building at the end of this path, in northern Mexico. If you really are a criminal or a fentanyl smuggler, are you going through that building?
No.
Exactly. No. So like
anybody who porous holes in the border, I'm not negating that. We need to secure our borders. I think a wall is like draconian and old.
But to your point, Corey,
I'm down with
if you have this much easier system where people can roll into a place with immigration judges and immigration lawyers and at least start getting processed in an easier fashion. Now you don't have border patrol agents running around collecting a bunch of people that are actually innocent and really just trying to get over. They can actually be running the border and collecting the actual criminals that we're actually worried about. Yeah.
If there's a wall and everyone knew the system was efficient and that they can get through, like fucking Ellis Island, it's just like, this isn't some crazy fucking concoction idea that I'm pulling out like some fucking pipe dream. We fucking did it before. That's what blows my fucking mind. Is like, we've already done this.
Yeah.
We were praised for this.
And then
we could go back to that.
Piss poor immigration policy in the 20s and 30s.
And my God, like,
island.
And it was on an island. Yeah. And like for real, man, like it's just, but yeah, there's criminals coming. Right? It's like, okay, it's probably like, for as many that are coming, it's probably like 100-to-1 ratio. And if we had an efficient system where we could book these people and put the people that seem shady on standby and make them sit somewhere, well, another 100 people could come in and supplement our population, add money to our tax revenue, create jobs and economy. Like they're taking jobs that are boosting the economy, stimulating the economy, keeping the money fucking moving. They're
would
here for the
think,
American dream.
because the establishment, both Republicans and Democrats, are both on the same page. You would think they would be like, all right, Guatemalans, we need more money to send to Ukraine. Come on in. We need your tax dollars.
It's just, yeah. I mean, if they're Cuban, they come in by a boat and it's like, you're welcome. But if they're from another fascist country or a country that's fucked, they're illegal. And it's just so dumb. It's a fabricated problem just so they could talk about it on these dumbass debate stages.
A lot like children.
Mm-hmm.
Immigrants and children are the two biggest political weapons that
like, my
both
God,
sides are guilty of using.
like it's just insane to me. It's just insane to me that it's the data is there that like
That
immigration
actually
is one
reminds
of
me.
these-
I was really, really surprised that during the debates last night, there wasn't more talk of like fighting wokeness. I was really shocked.
I don't think the
expected to
word
hear-
woke was used once.
I expected to hear a lot more about like trans ideology and that kind of stuff, and there was like none of it. I was actually
Well,
pleasantly
okay.
surprised.
So I'm about to go on a tangent. Did you guys see that? I think I shared it with you. Did you guys see the interview with Blair White and Alex Jones?
No, but you told me about it and how you think Alex Jones wants to fuck Blair White.
Yes, I still think that. But and I guess so funny. They showed this photo that Blair White had where she was like, because she has that photo with her like in that stairwell
With the
with
gun?
the gun like this, and her
Yeah.
phone's like this taking the photo. And she's like, yeah, this is the shoulda, coulda, woulda. And it was just her, but it was superimposed where her phone was like a Bud Light. And Alex Jones was like, I'd buy that Bud Light. Like, and then he like was really saying like, and it's interesting, especially coming from him, that I think that the tide, like with the end of wokeism is happening, that like the as the dust is settling, Republicans are saying that like no individualism, at least people like Alex Jones, individualism and things like that, and having the freedom to do what you want for yourself and have your own pursuit of happiness is important, and that people that believe that they're trans can do that, but the agenda behind it,
Right.
is what
It's the ideology behind it. It's the same with the climate stuff.
And dude, isn't that the biggest kick in the nuts? The Republicans are just so fucking bad at messaging. They're just so fucking terrible at messaging. And sometimes they might actually kind of get something right, but they're so shitty at how they portray it that like
I honestly
it's
think
just
that's-
way too easy to come to conclusion. It's like, well, that was actually kind of sexist, or that was racist, you know, or that
That's
was
an
transphobic,
advantage,
you know,
but-
insert your ism, or your
Not
ick
Islam.
word there. Ism, I meant ism. Or ick, you know,
But that's the
transphobic.
advantage. That's the advantage that people like Trump and Ramaswamy have. Like they have like they just have a better ability at messaging. Like obviously Trump's really clunky at it and whatever, but like name me a time, as much as you or I can't stand Donald Trump, think he's unfit to lead, whatever. I mean, when has he ever like shit on trans people?
He hasn't. Remember that he was selling merchandise that said LGBTQ for Trump.
Yeah, like when has he ever shit on gay people? He's a fucking New
The
York
only gay
businessman,
people
dude.
and stuff that he shit on were the ones who came after him first. In retrospect, when the fog clears a little bit with your TDS, because I fucking hated the guy,
Yeah,
he only went after people who came after him.
yeah. I guess we're Trump apologists now, Corey.
No, fuck Trump. I don't want him as my president. I think it's a kangaroo court type shit going on with them and the way they're trying to come after him. I don't like how that's being done, but I still don't want him as a president. I want him to go back to just doing mediocre.
Yeah, no,
shit.
dude, that the whole indictment thing is like it is just this unbelievable runaround from both. It's just this circle of like, did Trump do something wrong? I look at it and I go, morally, constitutionally, probably. Did he break any laws? Debatable. Should he be prosecuted if he broke laws? In principle, yes. But also, you can see where if the last 5 presidents aren't being prosecuted for crimes that are just as bad or worse, you can see that defense of like, why are you prosecuting Trump but not prosecuting these people? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like it's just this runaround where like nobody's ever gonna win. You're never gonna win these arguments because the way the system is set up, the way the status quo has been set up, it makes it impossible. And Trump, to his limited brilliance, which he does have limited brilliance, he knows this.
Mm-hmm.
He knows this, and he's using it to his advantage, and he's doing it well. We didn't mean to talk about that, but that just kind of came out of me. I hope that was articulated well enough.
Maybe. What you know what, Dan? We'll let the listeners decide.
We'll let the listeners decide. Yeah. It's so weird, dude. It's like Donald Trump. It's okay. So I'm going to say this for the first time on this show, and probably the first time I've ever said it to anybody. Donald Trump, in a weird way, in my lexicon, is becoming like LeBron James.
Like, what's more annoying, Donald Trump or the ones who hate him?
Or who's more annoying, Donald Trump or Donald Trump haters? Like, who's more annoying, LeBron James himself or LeBron James haters? It's tough to decide.
Sometimes. Yeah.
It's tough to decide. Now, with LeBron James, a couple of years ago, I made the decision that LeBron James haters are more annoying than LeBron James. And Donald Trump is quickly coming up on his coattails with that one. I'm legitimately starting to find Trump haters more annoying and more awful than Trump himself. They're all awful, but who's worse? Think about it. Be stoic about it.
I like that.
Channel your inner
stoic.
Channel your inner Russell Brand.
Channel your inner Marcus Aurelius.
Do you want to get to? Okay, closing arguments should have been like a half an hour ago. We're way past it on this one. Good discussion.
So we're already an hour and 6 minutes in. You want to just my little thought?
Sure.
Casey Lee in real life asked, "Do we do guest call-ins?" We haven't
Not
really
live.
set anything up like that, not live, but we might be able to set something up. That'd be kind of cool if we can have someone hop in.
Yeah, we like to chat.
We do like to chat. So probably not tonight, Casey, but you're one of the first ones to actually like ask about doing. Actually, no, I think we've had other people ask too. Like, do you guys read these comments? Do you guys bring people on and stuff? And we probably should set something up because it would add a lot of fun to the show.
Only the ones we like.
So stick around, and maybe that'll happen for you. Best way to message us all. So we are on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Obviously, you're on Twitch. Instagram, Twitter. Our actual email is libservativepod@gmail.com. Yeah, message us on any of like the different little social media platforms. Just look up Libservative, you'll find us. We'd love to collaborate and do things.
What was your closing remark, Corey?
So, the lost man's hero.
Oh, this is where I was going to go. You read my fucking mind.
Oh, perfect. So I had this little epiphany the other day. I was sitting there thinking, and like when you look up suicide rates, you look up, like just, and it's really hard to express this without sounding like one of those people that was like, oh, the poor white guy, what about us? Because that's not where I'm going with this. But with young men in general, suicide rates, isolation, dating, all these different things are on an uptick in the wrong direction for men, right? The nuclear family is falling apart. A lot of these young guys, they don't have a father figure to look up to and things like this. Like, I feel like you and I and Belle are like we're lucky that we had moms and dads. And I think that's important, that it helps people actually grow up to be a person that's a little bit more level, because you have a dynamic of two people that are helping raise you.
Be interesting if I could just add to that, Corey, to that point, and it doesn't have anything to do with money.
It doesn't have anything to do with money.
None of us come from money.
And so Jordan Peterson comes out with that book. What was it?
12 Rules for Life?
12 Rules for Life or whatever. And a bunch of these lost men, a bunch of Peter Pans, look to him, they see his book, they read it, and they're infatuated with it. And then he's getting all this outpouring of these people saying, like, you saved my life, you helped me. and this and that. And when this happened, the synthetic liberals, you know, the limousine liberals with their luxury beliefs, immediately started dogpiling and just shitting on Jordan Peterson to the point where they literally just made him cry.
Well, they shit on him after the AC, I can't remember the name of the bill, the speech bill in Canada where you have to use people's pronouns or it's illegal kind of deal. AC 16 or whatever. That was where people really started to notice Jordan Peterson and call him a transphobe and a homophobe and all that kind of stuff.
Which I also think is a bit of an asshole move. Like, regardless of what your ideology is and the trans community or anything like that, if I meet someone and they tell me, and even if to me in my appearance and the vision that my eyeballs give me, they don't necessarily look like a girl or a guy, but they tell me that they're a girl or a guy, I'm gonna be like, oh, okay, I'm sorry, you're he, her, or she, her, or he, him, or whatever. Like, I'm not an asshole. I don't give a shit. Dan, if you come to me tomorrow and you go, I'm a girl now, I'm like, all right, well, what's up? Like, what's up, homegirl? You know, like, I don't give a shit. Whatever.
It's gonna take you a minute.
Yeah, yeah, and you'd have to be patient with me because I've known you as a man my entire life that I've known you. But I'm not an asshole, and I'm gonna do my best to just be nice to you and just be a civil human being. But Jordan Peterson has that weird stance where he's like, I'm not doing that. But he's also coming from the stance of a psychologist, so it's a whole different thing or whatever.
But wait. If I can just defend Jordan Peterson for a second.
That's what I'm saying. He's coming from a different...
But he's never said that he wouldn't use the pronouns.
No,
his point is that making it a law is compelled speech, which is a violation of free speech. He never said that he personally
compelled speech is
those pronouns.
Just as bad as banning free speech.
Right.
And so you're right on that. 100%.
The people that shit on him were conflating what he said.
Sure. 100. Like, you're probably right, because I didn't really follow any of that too close. But like what I'm seeing is Jordan Peterson comes out, a bunch of these people who are like completely lost. You can call them cucks, you can call them betas, you can call them whatever you want. They were looking to someone, and Jordan Peterson came and filled that void for them. And the left started shitting on him to the point where he started crying. And because Jordan Peterson cries all the time.
Got all fucked up on benzos.
He got fucked up on benzos. And then when he kind of faded out of relevancy, the one that filled his shoes were Andrew Tate. Which is just a million times fucking worse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's like a let a sleeping dogs lie kind of thing, as you said.
Yeah, just let fucking sleeping dogs lie.
Why can't
people
Jordan
look
Peterson...
up to another guy and they want a role model? Who gives a fuck?
Why can't Jordan Peterson just be the lost man's hero? Is what you're saying?
100%. I would a million times prefer Jordan Peterson being the lost man's hero versus Andrew Tate, who's a misogynist and does all these things. And sure, you know, like regardless of his legal battles and any shit like that he says, you know, the people paint him as he's this misogynist, and he says this shit that he's a misogynist, and it's clear that the shit he says, he just objectifies women. And even if his own little private circle, he does treat these women with respect, the image he portrays is kind of a piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And now all these young men are up here looking up to him, filling their void, calling him top G and things like that. And is that really better for society? Good job, guys. When you scared Jordan Peterson away, who was a milquetoast guy who wasn't really causing any harm, and you let the right replace him with Andrew Tate or a Steven Crowder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, where
real pieces
I
of
look
shit.
at it, and like I've said this before on the show and in private, like, I mostly like Jordan Peterson. I have disagreements with him. There's no question about it. Like, I have disagreements with certain areas of his philosophy, but I mostly like the guy. You know, I think he makes a lot of good points. I think
he's just an intellectual.
Exactly. Jordan Peterson's biggest problem is that he does a podcast where he has guests on and then just talks over them the whole time because his brain because his
And
brain
he's
never.
so pompous. It's so pompous. It's the violin and the classical music.
Yeah,
and, he's like, well, look at me.
His brain just never stops. Like his brain just never. But what's weird is like his brain never stops. But you can tell when he does these interviews with people that are trying to play gotcha with him, right? Because you've seen him probably clips on those like debate stages and things like that. He definitely listens. I mean, he has to. He's a fucking psychologist. He has to listen. But when he's having like a conversation with somebody who's like intellectually on a par with him, he does a lot of what I do sometimes, which is like he'll ask a question and then answer it himself. And then just keep going and going and going and going. I do that too, but I'm not nearly as smart as Jordan Peterson, so it doesn't really matter as much when I do it. But yeah, I've never thought Jordan Peterson is problematic in any way.
Yeah, no, he's not.
I've never seen him as problematic.
He just got shit on for some weird reason because it's social media and everyone shits on everything.
He got the J.K. Rowling treatment, right? Like he just has this opinion that just gets conflated into him having these other opinions that he doesn't actually have, just like J.K. Rowling. Like J.K. Rowling's like, it's totally cool to be trans. I just want women's spaces to stay women's spaces. Like, can't we just have both things? And, and she's a horrible, disgusting transphobe after that.
Yeah. And so that's how he's got to get at. Like, the culture shit on Jordan Peterson into like now he's on the Daily Wire. Now he's just grifting. Now he is something different than what he was before all of this happened, right? And then the void was filled with Andrew Tate, the top G, the one that would manipulate women into being cam girls so he can make money off them.
Well, and I get what you're saying. I don't necessarily know if it's a void filled, right? Because Jordan Peterson still has a huge following. But it's that situation where when you try to tell people what to do, when you try to tell people you can't like Jordan Peterson because he's a transphobe because he did this and this and this, and then you look into Jordan Peterson, what's the first thing you're going to do? When say you would never say you're a 14-year-old boy, 15-year-old boy,
you're going to Google search
never heard of Jordan Peterson
transphobe.
The first thing you're going to do is you're going to look up Jordan Peterson. You're going to listen to what he has to say. You're probably going to like a little bit of what he has to say, at least. And then you're going to keep going down that wormhole until you get to an Andrew Tate, because somebody told you shouldn't like Jordan Peterson because of these things that are.
And what's
not
the
true.
American spirit? Like literally, Bell has it on his wall with Rosa Parks. No,
don't tread on me.
no, the Rosa Parks thing. No, like or even don't tread on me. Like it's ingrained in the it's ingrained in the American spirit that when someone tells you what to do, you go no.
Yeah.
No.
That is one of the things that I love about the American spirit, which is that we have a real fucking problem with authority. Unfortunately, over the last decade or so, too many people have fallen in. But too many
problem with authority.
Too many, and that's why, as somebody who comes from the left, when you come from the left, what are you? You are a person who is against authority. That's what being a leftist is supposed to be.
Karl Marx himself said the workers must be armed.
Somebody who is against authority. And then over the last 5 years, all of a sudden the left just gets in line and becomes phony, synthetic leftists.
Well, no, there's still some true leftists out there.
Oh, they're out there. They're out there.
Dore
but they're silenced.
Like that,
they're silenced. They're harder to find. They exist. They're still out there. But then, like, the fact that over the last 5 years that like leaning more to the right is now all of a sudden punk rock. Really? How do you not see this? How do you not see that like being right wing is punk rock now? That's not supposed to happen. That wasn't supposed to happen in 2002 when I was shitting on George Bush. You know what I mean? Like this isn't. I don't know how we got here. I really don't. I could probably break it down. We could probably figure out how we got here, but it is so frustrating to me that people that call themselves of the left are so conformist.
That's our
show.
Pretty much it. That's the show.
We didn't get to my topic tonight, but that's all right. We can save it.
Absurdtive Podcast is found on all social media and podcast platforms.
My 67 Corvette.
Our website is libsurdiveshow.com. We can be found at Libsurdtive on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Instagram and Twitter at LibsurdivPod. Our TikTok videos can be found at Libsurdive Podcasts, and you can reach out directly at libsurdivepod@gmail.com. Subscribe today.
Subscribe yesterday. Yeah. We're gonna be back on a normal schedule next week, right? Next Wednesday.
Oh my God. Wait, real quick before we go.
Oh boy.
Trump's mugshot just got released.
The real one, or is it another fake one?
I think it's the real one. Bell, you try to find it I'm about to share it, but I need you to
verify that this is real
and verify that this is
not out
a
yet.
photo.
It's not out yet. It's not real.
I don't know yet.
Oh, it's about to be released. How long are we gonna have to sit here?
No.
It was an hour ago. He went to Fulton County Jail and was released 20 minutes after he went in
My
there. But
67 Corvette.
they did take a picture.
Oh my God! I keep clicking buttons until Zoom is opening. Yeah.
Yes.
We might have to save this, Corey.
No.
No, it's just
No.
so. For the listeners at home, right now, Zoom is deciding to install updates for some stupid fucking reason, and I can't look at my shared screen. All right, here. Window. It's coming. Here it comes. Just wait. Just wait. Stick with us. There it
It's
is.
not coming up. Is that real?
That's it. Apparently. Why does he look so
No.
pissed.
I haven't
that's
seen
what
that
that's
one. That one might be it. What does the badge at the top left say? I can't see.
It does say Fulton County.
Does it?
Yeah, it's the same as all the other ones. It's the same.
That's
as
what I'm
the
saying, Bell.
Giuliani one.
Just Google Trump mugshot.
That's
I just
literally
need
what I
someone to
did.
verify. Is this popping up?
No.
I don't know if that's real, man.
Yeah, no, there's a couple of them. Like if you click Google Images, there's a couple of them that are literally look just like that. With
That
the
are
Fulton
clearly
top.
fake. Yeah.
A fake mugshot of Donald Trump circulating on August 24th, 2023. Yes.
This is
They're
it.
both fake. No, fake.
That's
This
fake.
one's fake?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no mugshot out yet.
You tried,
Trust
Corey.
Trust
You
me, you'll
tried.
see it. It'll be in your face. As soon
No,
as it-
dude. Right now, Daily Mail. Donald Trump
don't-
mugshot released. Former president surrenders in Georgia.
Yeah, and then they came out and said that there's fake pictures of his mugshot being circulated.
Dude, I don't know.
Here's how I know it's fake.
Tell
Hold
me.
on. There's no dude, that's fake. There's no shadow. Like look at all the rest of them. Giuliani's has a shadow. Jenna Ellis's has a shadow. It's fake.
Okay. One of
There's
our
no-
listeners sent that to me.
Oh, there is actually a little bit of a shadow.
All
MB
of the news articles are
NBC News.
all of the news articles. That's where I'm seeing it too. But
Oh, the one on NBC is fake.
yeah, and that's the one you popped up.
All right, maybe it is real.
I don't. Yeah, this one.
Why are
might
we
be it.
doing this?
Because it's fun. It's
whose idea was
fun.
this?
8
It was
minutes
Corey's
ago,
idea,
NBC
man.
News.
Yo,
Trump's
now,
mugshot made
15
public
years ago, I was
in jail after
in Washington
arrest.
doing Meet the Press.
That's it.
I was a
This is from NBC News. This photo is from NBC News.
All right, maybe it is real.
my 67
Oh.
Corvette.
Who cares?
I don't know, they're
Honestly, I don't
saying-
even care.
Look at
Whether
him.
it's
You
fake
know,
or real, I don't care.
I was expecting him to like do some bullshit smile or something like that, but he just looks pissed.
He looks like he got punched in his eye, to be honest. No,
Whatever.
it looks like two pictures put together. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, Marissa
really
just said
weird.
all the news articles are showing that one.
Yeah, I don't know.
And that one might be it.
Kyle
There was a
Laney
shit
says
ton of fake ones
news.
popping out.
There's a lot
But
of fake
so
ones.
I think so. We were all also Kyle. We were all sitting here thinking, like Dan just said, he thinks that's the fake one. But I had one of our listeners send it to me, and it's someone who wouldn't just send me bullshit. And this is what NBC
name
News
drop
is sharing.
them. No, I'm kidding.
No, I won't. I don't
I
like to
know.
just if our listeners want their name dropped, they let me know. You know,
I know. I'm kidding, man.
All right, that's it, huh?
For Bell the Body Snatcher, he's been Corey Walsh.
He's been Dad Griffin.
This has been Libservative, and we are out of here.
Peace.